Hello and welcome back to the garden. It marks my first after work gardening session of 2024. It's currently about 5:45 in the evening in the UK and it's light enough to work outside. It might not be warm enough. I might regret only wearing a sweater. I might have to run in and grab a jacket in a bit, but we'll see how it goes. But to commemorate the occasion, I'm going to go and tackle the pond. In my last video I asked everyone what I might be doing with this hole to the side of me, and there were quite a few funny comments left, so thank you for that. But yes, you were right. I am going to make a small pond in this sort of piece of the garden where it's kind of tucked out of the way. The hole already exists and I'm kind of banking on this just being able to be quite straightforward. I'm not planning on having to sort of dig it out any further. I have some pond liner and I have some pondweed. I have a few other materials, some bricks, some sand and a few more pond plants on the way, but they haven't arrived yet, and I just thought I'd crack on and see what happened. What's the worst that can happen? So this is the hole. It probably could do with being a bit deeper, so I might get the shovel and just dig it out a little bit. So obviously the pond liner is about 6 times bigger than it needs to be, but you can kind of get a sense of the shape. There's a deep portion here with a gentle slope out, and then this area here is the shallow outer section. I can't stress enough how little I know about ponds. I've got no idea if I'm doing this right. I'm just sort of doing it. And something pond-shaped is starting to appear. The dogs have broken into the allotment and are helping. I'm currently using the hose pipe to fill because I haven't got a clue what else to do, and just going to sort of see how full it needs to be. Can you see the dog in the bush? This is why they're banned from the allotment. So here is the pond Mark 1. I've dropped some bricks in so that anything that might accidentally fall in here can make its way out. I've just grabbed some of the old stepping stones and just put them up to start making some nooks. And I'm not going to do too much more with this evening, apart from start to add some of the plants that have arrived. There's nowhere I can really successfully put the camera to allow you to see this, but I've just got some oxygenating pondweed, which I'm going to drop in and let it do its thing. I've just weighed some of that pondweed down with horticultural grit, just to hold it down at the bottom, and some I've just left float loose and find its own footing, so we'll see how that goes. It might not be ideal because I filled up the pond with tap water, so it could do with like sort of 24 hours just for any chemicals to dissipate, but needs must, and so far it's shaping up well. This is probably only step one of a multi-step process that I'm not going to finish today, so I will come back to this project when I have another update. Well, that's the pond done as much as I can do today, so it's still really light. I have no particular ambition to be here, as in I didn't pre-plan what I was going to do, but I'm not ready to go in yet, so maybe it's time to do a little tour and catch up on where we're at. Now, I'm standing in this portion of the garden in front of the first bed, and there's loads going on in here. This parsley has been really vibrant and fresh all winter. I've picked it and I've cut it back down maybe 3 times over the winter, and it still looks incredible. There are some things in here that I planted before Christmas, or in fact the back end of the summer. Turnips which have gone to seed and any last ones have rotted. There's some spring onions back there that I think I sowed in August or September, as well as carrots and autumn cabbages. This bed will need a really good weed. Forgive me, I'm just going to go and sort the dog out. Where was I? I think I was saying that this bed is going to need a really big weed. This is the bed that I filled with really poor quality rotten manure, as in it wasn't very rotten, and it's just filled this bed with stinging nettles and grass. So this will need a good weed or a good mulch, not quite sure which. At the back there I've got a bunch of Welsh onions, which are probably coming up ready to divide. Some more cabbages, some Brussels sprouts that were planted way too late and are going to seed, along with some kale that's going to seed. Yeah, this bed is a mess. I'm a bit worried that I'm not seeing any new growth coming from my artichoke. That did really well last year, and I would have expected to see new growth on it by now, so I think it may have died. Blossom on this plum tree is just divine. I love it. And the pink berry is just about to burst into flower as well. These are the strawberries that I planted in a previous video, and they look to be really happy in their new home. In fact, there's new growth on these already. A lot of growth on the blackcurrant, and some of this put my teeth back in. Some of this rhubarb might be ready to harvest. In the middle bed, these are broad beans that I overwintered. I didn't do anything in the middle. That could do with a bit of a tidy as well. And here is some charge that I planted at the back end of the summer. Now, a lot of this got frost damaged, so I actually didn't eat it over winter. It was supposed to be an overwinter harvest, but it died back in the frost and is actually just starting to grow really vigorously again. So I think I'll be harvesting from this soon. In this end bed, these are the last of the leeks that I sowed in May. And I've been harvesting these all through the winter, and there's loads left, so I need to get a wriggle on. And then autumn planted garlic on the end. And I can't remember the varieties, they're in the shed, but these are looking really strong. And I've got one solitary purple sprouting broccoli, which seems to have survived the cabbage fly attack of last summer. My cherry tree is also just about to come into bud. Look, this one's open already. This is going to be exciting. I don't imagine that I'll get any fruit off of that cherry tree this year, or if I do it won't be very much, because it's been through a lot getting situated in its new place. And then I've got one bed there that I'm still filling, and more and more pots. Things from my parents' garden. And here are the blueberries. They should be flowering soon. Some of the leaves are already coming out. I'm super excited for blueberries in the summer again, and it should be a good harvest because it's the second year of those bushes, so they should be nice and established. They will need topping up. Compost has gotten a bit low, but I can do that anytime. I've got two types of mint here. One is an apple mint and one is a strawberry mint. This is the strawberry mint. Really strong smell of strawberries. They are here to remind me to repot them. I haven't done it yet, they've been here for a while. Out in the garden, I did start digging out some of this grass in the winter, but it's a real back-breaking job and I got bored and never came back to it. So I did just enough to plant out my new David Austin rose. This is David Austin Desdemona, which is a really fragrant rose. And I bought it as a bare root, so it really had to go in the ground. This is a winter flowering honeysuckle, which I've had in a pot for years. So I really wanted to get this in the ground as soon as possible. It has got new growth on it, but it's obviously sacrificed all of its blossom. It was already in flower when I planted it, so a little bit not ideal, but it seems to be surviving. And then this is an apple tree that I've had in this 50-litre tub. I've had it in there for years with daffodils that I think are well past their best because none of them are producing any flower heads. And then this is also a David Austin rose that I've had in a pot for 5 years or more, and this is David Austin Lady Salisbury, quite small, very pink flower heads. My very wonky washing line. On this side of the garden, this is my fragrant box. I actually have no idea how to say the word Soroka, maybe? Soroka? I don't know. That one. It's got lots of S's and lots of C's and lots of O's in it. You know the one. And these are the daffodils that I planted at the very tail end of last autumn, early winter. A bit later than they should have been, but they've come out and they look really bonny. My fig tree. Budding. I really wanted to get this in a bigger pot this year. It comes into fruit beautifully, but the fruits never ripen, and I do think it's because the pot's not big enough. So I've probably missed the opportunity this year. Maybe not. If I get it done before mid-April, probably it will be okay. But it is potted, so as long as I don't damage the roots, it'll probably be fine. And a new acquisition. These are 2 patio raspberries. These came out of my mum's garden and they fruit quite well. Look, there's a little strawberry runner in that one. I'll go and plant that in a minute. And there's some new growth coming on these too, so I've high hopes for some raspberries. My oregano. I mean, it's pretty dead right now, but maybe it'll grow back, I don't know. If not, I'll grow some more. More carrots. I pulled some out of here for my lunch today. I made a stir fry. And then these are supposed to be winter salads. This is a kind of a spinach, an Asian spinach, but you can see that's bolted. Didn't really do anything, and then all of a sudden sprouted up and went to seed. But this is landcress, I think. Something like that, or lamb's lettuce. And again, I planted this before Christmas, long before Christmas. But it's just starting to really get on some growth, so I'll be taking first pickings of that very soon. And last but by no means least, the herbs. And the rosemary is in flower, so that's gorgeous. The thyme will probably go next. The sage really needs cutting back. Actually, that thyme's got really big. It never used to be that big. I shall cut some of that and dry it. This is so handy to have outside the back door, I love it. Highly recommend. Probably needs a good feed. Just got my trusty hori knife and I'm going to go and find a home for this wee strawberry. I reckon about here, but the chances of me successfully filming this are pretty slim, so maybe I'll be right back. There we go in its new home. I'm going to take a risk and not water it. The ground is really wet and it has been raining. It will probably rain again later, so that guy can take his chances. Okay, I really think that I'm losing the light now, so it's probably time to go in. Pop the hori knife back. Thank you very much for following along. So many things to do in the garden, but you know my approach. Just kind of doing whatever it is that feels right in the moment. And today that's been not a lot, apart from hopefully building what will become a successful pond. I'll give you another update on that next time. If you have a moment and you want to leave me a comment to let me know what it is that you've got going on, what you're sort of looking forward to doing next in the garden, or even the things that, you know, you're gonna get to one day but maybe not today, then do feel free. I'd really love to read them, and I will see you next time. Thanks again.